So I ask you now to close your eyes again or use your sleeping mask and just think or imagine and feel yourself back into this virtual room where we are sitting in a circle, one next to the other on a chair. And stretch out your consciousness because you are more than your body. Your consciousness is in the field, the invisible air around you. And reach for the envelope in my hand and try to find out what is in there. What can you feel? Can you hear something? Does it have a smell or a taste? Or can you see something? Stretch out your consciousness and ask, what is in this envelope? Don't forget to breathe deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. That's always helping. Collect your impressions and perceptions and don't allow your head to talk yourself out of it because it has no idea. It's your psychic skills that can bring the information. And now come back and open your eyes, or you can stay with closed eyes if you like, whatever feels good to you. And we are working as mediums always with the first impression. That's more or less the intuition, the gut feeling you have. And right after that, the head is coming in and telling you, oh, that can't be, your imagination, you're hallucinating, and blah, blah, blah. That's what the ego does. That's what the brain and the mind does. And you stick to the feeling of your solar plexus. What could you perceive as energy or idea or sound or feeling from the inside of the envelope? Who wants to start? Okay, somebody is crying. I want to be the first. I love it. Usually I have to ask and then everybody, and I have to pick one. Yeah, come on, Branka. Wonderful.
Just a feeling, and I don't care if I'm wrong. So
That's good.
yeah, I have a receipt.
Yeah, what?
A receipt.
No.
No.
But not totally, you know, there is something in there when I will disclose at the end, because I have to let all the others say what they perceived. It's not totally wrong, and you will understand where you went too far and interpreted what you felt.
And you know what, Gabriele?
As receipt.
The first impression was, I have to tell you, I had two. The first impression was, it's Finanzbehörde.
Okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not something with tax and finance.
Okay. And then I said, no, it's not that. And then this receipt came to me, and it was so obvious. It even said netto.
Okay, so let's go to the point. There is something written in the envelope. So written and writing is right, but netto is not right. That's an interpretation of your mind. And text,
Return or whatever, yeah.
Text or receipt also is just one step too far. Writing would have been right. And if your perception is kind of very practical, something kind of to grab, so you don't look for the feeling. It can transform a feeling or a color or a sound as well. So we have to learn to use all our senses. But it seems to me that your kind of mind or mental capacity, because you jumped to receipt and written and text thing, this is more or less clear knowing, although you were a bit off, and it's not totally wrong or totally right. It's a bit too much interpretation in the wrong way. But, you know, we have these 5 senses, which is touch, hear, see, smell, taste, and know. And all these senses have kind of an invisible prolongation in the other invisible dimensions. So you can smell something with your clear smelling. Most common known is clear vision, clairvoyant, or clear audience, that people hear voices where others say, oh, they're crazy, they are hearing voices, you know. But we have all these 6 senses, and everybody has a special gift or talent with one or sometimes more of these senses. I'm clairsentient, I am feeling. I started with things like visiting friends and entering their living room, and I felt, ooh, kind of a strange energy in here, like as if you could cut the air. It was thick air in there, and I couldn't explain that, and I always distrusted my feeling, which was right. Because I said to myself, well, I don't know what happened in this room. How can I have this feeling? That does not make sense, and blah, 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 ego, blah, blah. And I found out later during the evening that the couple, the man and the woman I had visited in their living room, before I came, just half an hour before, they had an argument in there. So the energy of the argument was still in the room, kind of glued to the wall and the furniture. And that was what I was feeling. So I was right. I just couldn't place it. I needed the information that they had an argument, and I needed to acknowledge, oh, I'm clairsentient. I'm feeling energies. So that might help you to explain. Because we will find out when we carry on where your talents are. Everybody has one or more of the psychic senses a bit stronger developed than the others. But by training, I learned to get clairvoyant and see things and hear things. That's why I'm also so interested in music and sound, because I know there's much more to sound than I was taught at school. Okay, so far?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Carmen.
Well, I perceived a star, written star, like a David star. I don't know if it's called the David star.
David, yeah, with the 6 pointed. It's kind of, yeah, it's 2 triangles in each other. Yeah.
The other way around, yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I can half place that with the meaning of what is written in the envelope. We will have a look at that later. It makes sense, although it is not exactly what is on the paper that's in the envelope with the written letters on there.
Okay.
You're not totally off. That's very interesting how this the information take form or shape in your consciousness, because you know information is kind of neutral and it has to take form in our consciousness to be as a symbol representative for what we felt. And that is different for everybody, because for one, a rose is a wonderful flower. For the next one who has an allergy against roses, it's a horrible thing. So you see, spirit world can only use what's in our library of images and meanings and words and constructs and ideas to convey a message to us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Makes sense, nah?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. We will have a laugh afterwards. I already know. Okay, Renee, what did you perceive?
So I got a few different things coming through, and I think some of them were just my mind. But so first thing I was getting was like flowers, and then I was getting the color orange, or orange, and then I was getting like a memory, something to do with a memory, and then I was also getting like something you keep in your pocket. Yeah, I was just kind of, I don't know. I think there was just, I was getting too much and I couldn't.
That's all perception, and that's really wonderful. The freshlings. I could laugh about that. You're thinking wrongly about yourself. You know, flowers, I can place that. You will understand it afterwards. The color orange, I can also place. I would be very interested in the memory that came up, because then spirit world is using your library of memories. What kind of memory come up?
Well, it was more like it's something to help with your memory. So like a photograph, you have a photograph of a memory of something. So it could be like a photograph of something that's a memory for you or something like that.
Ah, okay, I understand. It was not a memory maybe from your childhood when you were playing as a child. It was memory to keep in the pocket to remind you.
Something, yes, something that you can have as a memory.
But that also makes sense. So now I'm going to disclose what is in the envelope. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little piece of paper, and on there is written the German word for joy.
Oh.
So, flowers and the color orange, like the sun, you know, sunshine, that makes totally sense to be connected with joy, the meaning of joy. And you, Branka, with something written, that was right. Only you went off in the wrong direction, but there was something, there is a word written, even in German. And Carmen, I mean, symbolically, if you unite these two triangles from the Star of David, which is the male and the female, well, what do they create usually? A child. What do children do? They play, they have joy. So I can place that. Does it make sense to you?
Okay, now that you explain, yes, it could be. Yeah.
It's just a very different kind of language in symbols, how your consciousness tried to put into pictures what you perceived. But I think every one of you got something. You're not totally off the target, you know, everybody got something. And this is why I use these terrible exercises with the envelope. Everybody gets scared sometimes, even in my physical group, and they say, oh, again, the envelope. Here is coming the big challenge.
It's challenging.
It is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's good to be challenged a little bit, because we can perceive a lot. But the thing is, you want to be on target and you want to use your perceptions to be on target. And if you get everything, you know, around and you're not on target, well, then you're perceiving a lot, but you don't know how to use it, to focus it and direct it. And you already, all of you, focused and got something that I could place and say, yes, that's correct, that makes sense. Because, you know, in this virtual room, it's a little bit difficult to create exercises. With my physical group, it's easier. I can give them something into their hand. They can feel it. It's a stone. They can look at it, but they have to get the energy, or have to get, where does this stone come from? And what is it representative of? Things like that. So in the virtual reality, I have to use some other tricks, but they are nevertheless working, because even healing at distance is working. People are doing Reiki, and I also did healing at distance to people on the other half of the world, sitting in Brazil. And I only appointed with them because I want to have them safe. I said at that time, and you have to look up what time that is in your time zone, I want you to be seated or lying on your bed and not walking around or driving your car, because I'm sending healing energy. And they felt it. So it is beyond time and space. That is why our psychic senses and consciousness is not bound by time and space or distance. We are sitting in 4 different countries and we are speaking through a screen, but we are connected energetically, because we formed the circle. I said the words, and whether you felt the hands and the kind of flow of the energy in the circle or not, we are connected. And even if we don't do it consciously, we are connected. We are one. That's what all the mystics said. All is one. And quantum physics nowadays phrases it a bit different, but they say the same thing. Everything is quantumly entangled, means everything is connected to everything. You are made from the same stardust and cells and amino acids like I and everyone else and every animal and every plant in this world. So we're all connected. It's only the wrong idea. We are separated. I am I and you are you. Yes, you are to a certain extent, but on another level, we are all one. And okay, I'm guiding you to your inner heart space, and you just close your eyes or use your sleeping mask. And we are curious to see what we can perceive. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And another one. And allow yourself a little sigh, because that is what God created the sigh for. To release by exhaling everything that is disturbing or stressing, that is blocking or hindering. And it can be a little sigh like, oh. Or it also can be a big sigh like, oh. Yawning and sighing is helping to release old energy. So allow yourself to yawn or to sigh. And the field of your consciousness is hovering around the upper part of your body, around your head area. And I ask you now to focus your consciousness into the ray of a torch, as if you switch on a torch with which you want to have a look into the dark, and you can follow the ray of white light from this torch, which is your consciousness. And you're shining this ray of light into your body, into the inside of your body, from the head down, down to the chest region where the heart sits. And your heart as an organ is built with two chambers. There is the forechamber and the main chamber. And that is exactly how the ancients built their temples. In the temple Yeshua entered in Jerusalem, there was the foreroom, the forechamber, and there was the main chamber called the Holy of Holies. And we are entering now the forechamber of our heart. However that looks to you, whichever form or shape it has, take a deep breath there. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, and look around in the forechamber of your heart. How does it look? What can you perceive there? Can you feel anything? And you don't have to be scared if there's only dimly red light, because you are within an organ. So it is normal that there is only dim red light coming through your body from the outside into the organ, into your heart, the forechamber of your heart. And if you look around there in the forechamber of your heart, you can see that there is another door or an entrance somewhere. Maybe some light is shining through under the doorstep. Walk towards that door, that entrance, to the main chamber of your heart, where your soul lives, and where the connection is to your soul. Stretch out your arm and open that door and enter your inner heart space, your temple of your soul. And look around. What can you see? What can you perceive there? However it looks. It can look like a church, or like a temple, or like a place in nature. Just to give you an idea, in my case, it is a room without walls that is filled with white light. And And it is as if I'm standing in white mist or clouds of light. But whatever form it has for you, it is okay the way it is. Like your inner heart room is showing itself to you. And here you can meet your soul, your higher self, your guardian angel, your spirit guides, or deceased loved ones. You just have to ask for them to come and invite them. You can ask for Buddha, Jesus, Mary, whomever you want to have in your sacred heart and soul space to answer a question, to give you advice or help or whatever you need. You can ask for healing there. Whatever it is you want. A good idea, if you want to ask a question, is always to ask, what do I need to know now? Or what do I need now? You can do that silently asking inside. You can also just sit down and bathe in the light and the energy and recharge your batteries, or even lie down there on the ground like you lie down on the grass in nature, and perceive what is there for you. There's maybe a figure showing up, making a gesture. Can you hear a word? Do you see a sign or a symbol? Or is it just light? Or a feeling, an energy you get as answer to your question? And it is always a good idea to say thank you, because thank you is the magic word you say after you received. You don't say thank you before you received a present. You say it afterwards. And now slowly prepare to leave that room again. Turn around, walk through the door, and close it behind you. Because you don't leave the door to your sacred space open. Like you don't leave the door of your house open so that every spider and bug can crawl in. So you take care of your sacred space in your heart. You close the door, knowing that you can always come back whenever you want, because now you know the way how to get there. And you can always go there, ask a question, ask for help, ask for healing or advice. And now you are standing again in the fourth chamber of your heart. And you can just allow yourself to follow the ray of the imagined torch, the focus of your consciousness that was directed into your heart. Follow it now upwards again to the head region where usually your consciousness is floating around you. Come back slowly to your body, to your room, to the chair you are sitting on. And you can wiggle your fingers and your toes to come 100% back into your body. So, who wants to go first with what happened in your sacred heart space? Okay, now I pick one. Or did you just make the sign, Renee? Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Thank you. Start.
So I've done this meditation a few times from your YouTube.
Okay.
And I see light, it's like a room with, there's a door with light around it. You can kind of see the light through the door, and then you open and you go in and there's light. And I always feel this kind of cooling feeling, and it's like if it's really hot outside and then you go inside and it's like a really cool, refreshing feeling. So I get that. And when I went in there this time, there was this man standing in there, or like this male energy, and I didn't recognize him. He was kind of just standing over there, but like looking at me, and he just seemed really like calm. But I was a bit unsure who it was. He looked kind of, I don't even know if he looked human. I was just kind of not sure if I wanted to look at him because I wasn't sure what I was looking at, if that makes sense. So anyway, I kind of just, I looked around, and then I saw my teacher there, and I was asking my teacher, he came in and he was like dancing, and then I asked him, what do I need to know now? And he just said, he was saying, like, you are safe, you can relax, just let go, you're safe. And so then, and then I was looking back at this other male energy. So I was like, who are you? So I just felt to ask, who it is. And
whomever you encounter, wherever, in whatever dimension, always ask, who are you? What do you want? Ask questions.
Yeah.
Or did you get an answer?
Well, what I got was, he said he was a guide, like my guardian. And then he kind of changed form into more light, like a light being. So I don't know why he was not in that form originally. So I wasn't sure. I was kind of a bit like, okay, you know, it wasn't scary. It wasn't doing anything scary, but I was just like, oh, I'm not sure what to make of this. You know, I don't think my mind could process it intellectually. So I was just like, okay, okay, you're not here to hurt me, like, obviously. And he was just pretty cool, like calm, and yeah. So
Okay.
he was just like, yeah.
Okay. May I ask you, who is your teacher that came into your heart space?
David Hawkins.
I don't know that man. You are in some kind of relation with him?
I've never met him personally, but he's my spiritual teacher. So
Okay, so he's a spiritual man who wrote books or made videos, and you are following him. And you already know him, you already kind of encountered him, or? Okay. You already met him?
Not in person, no. He died before I could meet him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a connection. That's why you call him it wasn't your English teacher from school. That's what
No.
Okay.
No. My spiritual, I call him my spiritual teacher, like
Okay,
Jesus or.
Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. And you said he is coming in kind of like dancing and showing you, relax, everything's fine, you're safe.
Yeah.
And when another guide shows up, that is usually the sign that you are going into a new phase, because you have a whole team of guides and spirit guides. And that might be that a new one, which wasn't kind of having this fixed form, because many of them, they can take whatever form they want. And usually they take a form to not scare you. Something you're familiar with, like the figure of a man or whatever, but they can change into light or into other beings that do not look human or whatever, but they are not going to do that if they know that would scare you. The positives never do that, only the negatives, because they like to scare you and they feed off your fear. That's why they are kind of making you produce fear energy. So that to me is the sign that you're entering a new phase in your life. Makes total sense to me. Otherwise you wouldn't be in this group right now. You know, you're looking for something else. You want to train your psychic senses. So a new guide is showing up. And first he shows only a little bit, just I'm here, I'm not doing anything, you can trust me. And you have to learn to, get over the feeling, who is that? What does he do here? Is he usually
Yeah.
they are not, because nothing can enter your secret heart space that is not of the light. So, and your spirit guides, the spirit guides of everyone, they are of the light. Otherwise, they would not be spirit guides. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Can you place that with your perception, what you experienced in your heart space? Does it make sense?
Yeah, because I was also kind of getting this image of an eye, his eye, something to do with his eyes. So, yeah, I'm not sure what that could mean, but
Well, I know.
yeah, something to do with maybe like inner sight or inner vision.
Exactly. That's what we're kind of practicing here. And I had in my past, with me, it's like that. When I go to bed and close my eyes at night, the few minutes before I fall asleep, I have the stream of consciousness. I have a stream of pictures and figures and whatever passing by. Some suddenly stand still and look at me. And there was one thing that I had for years and years and years, and I didn't understand it. And it was an eye, a single eye looking at me all the time, and it was moving, you know, and it was only one eye until that's the symbol for the all-seeing eye, for the inner vision, the third eye, the inner eye, however we call it. All our names are so misleading. It is, what do you do with an eye? You see. So that makes sense. That kind of the eye region and his eyes, something about his eyes was kind of interacting with you, or triggering you to ask yourself, what's with his eyes, you know? So it's about vision. What are you doing here? You start to use and train with your inner vision and your inner eyes. So it makes total sense to me. Does it make total sense to you now as well?
Yeah. Because it's like what I'm getting is that, you know, like you're talking about education and how they try and control people with a structure of how you have to go to school and be educated, and like with religion they do the same thing. Like they don't, in all my years in religion, I never was taught to go inside and have a direct experience with spirit. It's always like you have to go through them to get to God. And so it's like that's how they control you.
Yeah, that's the big lie. To put a priest, a teacher, or someone else between you and Source, and your soul as part of Source is inside you. That's why they try to distract you to the outside world. You have to go there. You have to fly to America to see that guru, or you have to go to India to see that master. That's all nonsense. And that's why they want to keep you outside and don't want to find this short way from your head into your heart. Like Yeshua said, I'm nearer than hand and feet. I'm living inside your heart. That's it. And all religions are man-made, and they want to control your access to the divine. And they do as if only they have it, only through them you can get there. Already the Egyptian priesthood abused this position for greed and power. And you could only get into the temple if you made your offerings and paid them on whatever, you know. There you have the structure of power, which we still have in our world, and that's all outside world, and it's got nothing to do what is inside. Your soul has a toe in your heart, and you can always go there, and you don't need me. And after some more trainings with the kind of meditation, you don't even need that meditation any longer. It's like a GPS. You can go there directly without music, just focusing, and get the answer you need, or get the advice or whatever you need. And that is what is empowering. And that's why the forces of this world do not want that. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, that's unfortunately we are kind of an invaded planet, and they taught us the wrong things and we believed them. But we can know better, and now more and more people are waking up and are trying to find their own ways, and so we're on a good path. It's happening.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Anyone else of you, maybe Carmen or Branca, got some ideas while Renee was telling her experience in her heart? Yes, Carmen.
No, I just forgot to comment something on that I got from Renee, is that I got the impression that the guide or the man who appeared to you was kind of confirming you the fact that you are safe, that everything is okay, and that relates to me to what at the beginning you were saying about the fear, you know, about the how about if I encounter any dark energy or something like that, you know. So he was there to say, look, you came here and you're okay, everything is okay, stay calm, and just let it go, you know. And I don't know, it just got that impression. It was like a confirmation that everything is okay.
Yes, wonderful. So you got the most important point, because what spirit world is doing with us, they are confirming our perceptions to make us more confident in our own psychic senses. So that is a wonderful point, and you got another 100 points because you got that. That's really great, wonderful. Thank you. And I got something, but I have to ask you something. Is your father still alive?
Yes.
Do you have a grandfather that already deceased and it passed over?
Yes.
Okay, because with that figure you mentioned, I got the word father. And that's something that happens sometimes in client sessions as well. And then I have to find out with the client, is it the father or the grandfather who may be a spirit guide as well? Or is it the symbolic father, the fatherly figure we connect with the idea of God or source? Can you place anything? Do you have a feeling? What's with your grandfather? Was he a person interested in spiritual knowledge or something like that, so that it could make sense that he's that figure?
No, well, my grandfather, he was like a homeless alcoholic. So I never really saw him, only when my dad could locate him. So I don't think he was, spiritual. Could it be like another lifetime? Like he was a father in another lifetime?
No, I get very strong feelings in my heart when you talk about that grandfather. You name as not spiritual because he was an alcoholic and homeless. That's the human viewpoint. My heart was jumping because that soul of your grandfather chose a very hard path of learning, being homeless and alcoholic and obviously non-spiritual. But you know, my guides, when I was ranting about bad experiences and bad people and false friends betraying me, they said, well, how do you want to choose the light if you don't know the dark? So we all need dark experiences, which we name bad and horrible, but they catapult us into the light and into our choice for what we want for our life much faster than 10 lives of 10 brave citizens. And that is the feeling that I get about your grandfather. He chose this hard life and experience that catapulted him more or less directly into the light. And when I do the kinesiological muscle test, asking, was that figure Renee's grandfather? I get a yes, a strong yes, if I do that also. Am I only believing that? No, I can get through. That is true. It is her grandfather in her in his light form. I get the yes all the time, you know.
Yeah, I do. I can see. Yeah, I can see how that he did have a really difficult life, but he did have a soft heart. Like he had a really
That's it. That's why
he had divine feminine. I'd say he had the divine feminine in him, but he was so disempowered from masculine or something that he had no, his way to cope was through alcohol. But
yes,
yeah.
sometimes go a bit astray, but if you have a good heart, you will always be connected to the light. And I get a strong feeling that is your grandfather. Wow, wow. Now I get the whole chest area opening up. So you have roots from another culture, from natives. Wow, I get goosebumps all over my body. And that is something very important to connect with these roots, because it was the Native Americans, the Indians that kept a lot of the knowledge and the wisdom that all the Western world negates and thinks they are primitives. No, they had contact with the Star Brothers, the Sky People, or the invisible realms, the shamans. So there now is opening up a whole new door to you because of your grandfather with this roots from Tonga Island. So that's a really big present. Wow. I'm flashed. I like it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've actually just been doing my ancestral lineage family tree. So I've just been really inspired to look into that recently. So yeah, to connect to that culture is really beautiful. I do feel like, you know, that ancestral line, them coming through, and
I see
yeah.
and down now in the line that I see them standing in. You know, they're yeah, and they're with you when you make your ancestry tree. There is a lot for you to discover, to connect back with the roots and with their traditions or their mindset, because they weren't that civilized like the spoiled Western world. They still had much more connection to nature. They knew of the nature spirits. They were in contact with that. And that is something you can inherit as well if you open up to that. And I think, to me, it makes sense now why he appeared and why I got this father or grandfather, because that's all pointing to your lineage, where there are a lot of gifts and presents and talents for you to hone.
Yeah. I think maybe it was him when he was younger, because I never really saw him. When I saw him, he was a lot older and not looking his best, obviously. But this guy, and when I was in my heart space, he was young, and he, you know, not young, but he looked more youthful.
Yeah.
So yeah, thinking about it, yeah.
To me, it makes a lot of sense. And usually in former days, it was like that the kind of spirit guidance jumped over one generation. So it wasn't the fathers and the mothers, but it was the grandfathers and the grandmothers who became spirit guides in a family line for the younger ones. But nowadays, as we are living in kind of the acceleration at the end of a great cycle, it's getting more close and more fast. So sometimes it already is the dead mother or the dead father, but in your case, still it's the grandfather, which is kind of along the traditions. And I get the word tradition a lot. I can hear that. And I think your Polynesian traditions will have some surprises and gifts for you.
Oh, wow.
So that's
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to that soul wisdom. Yeah.
Yes, they had it, and you can have it too if you open up to that ancestry line, to the roots, their traditions, what you can find out about them, or go into your heart again and speak with your grandpa. Now you know the name, and you can next time go there and ask him with his real name and see how he reacts. And I think he will do a little joy dance, because in my perception, it is really him. So that's great.
Okay.
Surprise.
Yeah, wow. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah.
You. So,
Thank you.
now, Branka, now it's your turn. Tell your experience. What did you perceive?
Yeah, I was very surprised when you led us to the fourth chamber, and I immediately saw those stone walls, and I was sure that I was inside a pyramid, and because I never ever visited a pyramid in my life, but I was quite sure I was there. And what I perceived, that everything was so clean. The walls, the ground, everything was so clean. And when he said, and you can see some light, and I said, I thought to myself, yeah, it's light, but where is it coming from? I could see everything. And then you led us to the heart space behind the door, and the experience with the door was so interesting, because I knew it was a heavy door, but it was easy. It was a slide door. It was easy to slide it open. It was it was a quite visceral feeling and very pleasurable to open this door. And then when I came in, the heart space was just this light. There were no walls. There was nothing. It was just yellow white light, and it felt so comfortable in there, and so natural also. And then my father came, my deceased father, and we were so happy, and we hugged. And then I heard you saying I could ask for something, and I immediately, to heal something, and I immediately thought, well, I want my ankles, my joints and ankles to heal. And I asked for that. And immediately I felt on the soles of my feet, I felt prickling, a feeling of what's that word?
Vibration.
Yes, something moving on the soles of my feet, and hands also.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. That was it.
That's great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dead. So it's no wonder that you met him there. And I really like your dad. You know that I like your dad. And about the impression that you had the feeling the walls in the fourth chamber of your heart reminded you of pyramids. When you were saying that, I got, because I was there and have some connections, I got the Bosnian pyramids. But this landscape, as you know, I often bring that example. The wine is building its taste with the soil it is growing upon. So in different regions, the wine has a different taste. And also the soil, Mother Earth, is building the mentality of the people living upon the earth. So in Eastern Europe, there is a different mentality. You don't have to be Bosnian. And as far as I know, up to now, the Bosnian pyramids are Arcturian. That is an ET culture that always only cared for spiritual development and for spirituality. So it makes sense to me, as open and sensitive as you are, that there is a connection, and maybe the Bosnian pyramids, you have been there in another lifetime, or maybe you like to make a journey there one day, whatever, and reconnect. But you can also reconnect already in the fourth chamber, because these walls remind you of a pyramid, and you have to sense inside of yourself what kind of pyramid does that remind you of. The Bosnian, like it kind of triggered my perception, or is it the pyramids in Giza or somewhere else in South America? This I cannot say. You have to find out for yourself. But, you know, as it came in for me with Renee, that is her ancestry line, the father and the grandfather, that idea of the Bosnian pyramids is not coming for nothing. And it makes sense that you come from that kind of soil. So maybe you can have a look more into that, or next time you just ask. in your secret heart space. Maybe, yes, your father feels like, a soul not from this planet. That's what I already got. So maybe there's an Arcturian connection that want to come to the surface and let you know more about spiritual heritage that is within your soul and that is now ready to open up and teach you and guide you.
That's very encouraging. Thank you.
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, we're through with you. Now, Carmen, you silently, patiently waited. Thank you.
It's okay. No, it's really enriching listening to the others' experiences. So I'm really into it. So when I was in the fourth chamber was I could see myself as a little girl just walking around. She was around and she was kind of happy with me, and then well, my heart started beating very strongly and quite fast, like it was not the normal beat for a few seconds. All the time I could see a golden light all around, like it was as if the walls were made of gold. It was gold. And then, well, I was there and no one was coming. So I was like, well, okay, so do I need to know something, or can I receive a message of what I need to know right now? And a book started appearing in front of me. It was a golden book, and it opened. But when I opened, I could see symbols. I mean, I couldn't read anything. It was a bit weird. I just tried to get a bit of help, but I didn't get anything else. So I said thank you, and I just left as you instructed. So
okay, but that's a great experience. Do you know what seeing yourself as a little child already in the fourth chamber, not even in the main chamber, the main temple, what that signifies? That's the connection to the inner child. Your inner child was already kind of welcoming you outside of the main chamber. And that tells me that you should care a little bit more about the inner child. Go and visit your inner child. Play with it. Maybe hug it, laugh with it, or cry and weep with it. Certainly, like everyone, we all had times as children where we were sad and maybe no one was there to dry our tears. So you can do that now. But I get the feeling that your inner child that can read the symbols in the golden book. Next time, take her on the hand or in the arm to the inside where she belongs and read with her together. Have a look into the book. I was shown a similar book on the bottom of the sea once when I had my encounter with the whale consciousness, which is from planet Sirius, together with the dolphins. And I saw a book and I couldn't read it because the symbols, the language totally unknown to me. And I was just like, what I do now? And then there came this whale with this big eye, close to me. And I heard him telepathically saying, I can read for you. And I visited him a few times after that on the bottom of the sea. And I asked for some information from out of that book, and he translated for me. He read the symbols I could not read, and out of my mouth came poetic verses that were rhyming. And I can't believe that, because I have to break my head to create a rhyme in this 3D world, and it takes some time, and it was just flowing out as if normal. So the golden light, the golden book, can it get any better? You know, golden is such a, just think of South America and the Spanish conquistadors. They went for the material gold, but gold in the spiritual is the symbol for high knowledge, for it all. So a golden light, a golden book, I just love it.
Well, it's so funny because now that you say about the whale, I remembered that last night, I dreamt with a whale. I was swimming with her, and that's so weird. Yeah, the connection.
It's not weird. It's natural, because we evolved in waves on this planet. First, there came the aquatic beings that helped us evolve in the early stages. So there is this Sumerian fish god, Dogon or Dagon, and he wears this strange kind of fish skin about his over his body, like a robe, and has the mouth of the fish on his head, which you still find in the Vatican today with the kind of headwear they have. But you know, it first were the aquatics, they came all from Sirius B. And then came the insectoids and the reptilians, and then the humanoids, and so on. We were tinkered through 10,000s and millions of years within our DNA by various sky people coming in, not all for the good, some for the bad, but there is a connection. And just think of, I have a CD, although my CD player is broken, I can't listen to that any longer, with whale and dolphin songs. They are singing the frequencies they produce. That sounds like songs, and I love to hear that, you know. So there is a connection, and it is no coincidence that just one day before our group you dream that, and I bring exactly that example today. I could have picked another one. That was them kind of connecting dots. So maybe you should listen to some whale songs and see what they are doing with you. Or maybe you can call in a whale to translate for you from the Golden Book. And or your inner child. I think both are capable, because the child has the wide open mind. It does not have prejudices and all this stuff and concepts and mind and thoughts. And the whales also don't have that, not only because they live in the water. As you know, water is something very, very special. If you say thank you to a glass of water and Emoto photographed that and froze it, then there are forming these wonderful snow crystals that are hexagonal and sacred geometry. And if you say to a glass of water, I hate you, you are ugly, then you get, after you take it out of the freezer, all these split structures. There is no form, no pattern at all. And in the Bible, water is mentioned. The Spirit of God hovered above the waters. We are more than 70% water. So there are so many connections. What a rich, golden experience you had. I love it.
Yes, I was a bit frustrated because I was not getting any message itself. No one was showing up.
Yes, because you have an expectation. That is what mind and ego always has to be, this form or a figure. I know that. And then some figure showed up in my inner room, but it had no face. Only I could see a torso, limbs, and a head. And I was frustrated as well. And later I understood, you don't need to know who it is. It is about the message. That's why the shape and the form is. But when we have expectations or we want an answer or a sign or whatever, we kind of narrow our perception because we expect it to come in a special way. The
Yeah.
way we kind of project it already as a word, as something written. You got a book written, but you couldn't read it. So
Yeah.
that happens, and I know this kind of frustration, and that's normal. Just get over it and skip it.
Yes. I mean, I really enjoy these exercises because they always teach you that your expectations should just put aside, and something comes up by surprise, by no way that you could imagine. So it's always wonderful. Yes, it's as you never expected, really.
Exactly. That's
So
it.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's my pleasure and the fun.